least a little bit of that.
Yeah, and so that's Shoop taking game one, and both these players have priests, so might be seeing some similar decks from them. I really like that deck from Shoop. It's pretty strong. It does well against control because of how many late game threats it has. So Shoop showing us some fun stuff there, but Prophecy now on the back foot. See if he can pull it together.
There's also a shaman in this lineup. I'm pretty excited. This is a deck I think you're going to see. I think it might be one of the most popular decks on the ladder right now, if not the most popular deck. It seemed like there was a shaman everywhere yesterday and the day before, like myself playing and watching. And there's different forms of it. It's not just one shaman deck anymore. You're getting like these mid-rangey decks. Lightning Storm is starting to come back into some decks and stuff too. So trying to figure out exactly which one they're playing over the first 2 to 3 turns can be very important.
Yeah, very true. And it's sort of hard since they both curve out the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's definitely something that you need to recognize. We'll see, though. Shoop usually is a player that plays faster decks, so I actually don't know. Zoo is something that I have expected, but I'm not sure if he's going to be playing Freeze Mage or something maybe a little bit faster. But Prophecy is going to throw out the Control Warrior once again and try his luck this time against Shoop's Zoo Warlock.
All right, TJ. All right, Control Warrior aficionado. How do you like this matchup, the new Zoo decks?
It all depends on where the Brawl is in your deck.
Is it really just that important? It just comes down to the Brawl?
A lot of times, yeah. You missing Deathbite is a pretty big deal. You need Fire War Axe. You do have ways to stop the early damage. You don't have Shield Maiden. The matchup's gotten a little bit weaker, I think, for the Control Warrior, especially since you have to build your decks a little heavier now. Just because you have to be able to have win conditions against control, or not even against control, but against like the sort of mid-range / control decks that run that are very minion heavy and don't have the very linear win condition like old control decks did, where they just try and fatigue you out of the game like old Control Priest, Arena Warlock. So it's definitely a little bit tougher, but there are tech cards you can put in. We saw Baron Geddon in Prophecy's deck, which can do pretty good. It can do a lot of great things against the Zoorok deck and Double Revenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's got a couple ways to deal with cards like Forbidden Ritual and stuff that could probably cause a problem later in the game. And Prophecy, I mean, he's got a pretty solid opener here. He's going to be able to. He has his bash, he has a slam, he has an execute, he has a shield block. He's got 2 armor smiths, so he's got his early game covered. But yeah, he still needs to be keep himself from just getting run over here in the first couple turns, because Shoop has a pretty decent opener as well. He's got a lot of these sticky minions that are still left over in Zoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that Prophecy has. He's gonna have a lot of armor gain. The thing is that a lot of times the health total doesn't matter too much against Zoo, because for them against Control Warrior, it's not necessarily about killing your opponent quickly. It's just about making sure that you always have a board and forcing them to use resources on your board. And eventually you'll just be able to reload enough to where the warrior's just going to run out of removal. They're just going to run out of stuff to deal with your stuff.
So you think it's about like pacing your resources as well as possible in this matchup. Make sure you never overextend too much into a brawl, or if you do, that you have enough to recover from that. Okay.
Exactly. And it's sort of the opposite for the warrior, where it's about, spacing out your removal, getting the most value out of your brawl. Being patient with your executes, knowing what boards are threatening and what boards aren't necessarily as threatening as they might appear. So, like a situation like this, I don't know if it's necessarily right to use removal. Maybe it's just better just to attack him with your armor smith, armor up, and then, see what's gonna go on for next turn. Like evaluate after you see your draw.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. That play kind of signals brawl as well. Even though you don't have it, you're still like signaling to Shoop, hey, I could possibly have a brawl here, and it's playing into your game anyway, because Shoop's going to like take it a little slower. You can keep armoring up, and you can eventually maybe even draw into that brawl later in the game. But he goes ahead and he slams the flame up there, and then attacks in and takes care of this. He's at a pretty high life total here, though. Mm-hmm. But like you said, that's not exactly the important thing here. It's just important that Shoop keeps a board.
Yeah. And yeah, I really like fitting in taps as much as possible in this matchup, because it's not about killing your opponent quickly. It's just about keeping as much of a board as possible, playing around brawl when you can, forcing removal out of your opponent's hand when you can, and spacing your threats as well. And Shoop actually also runs Leroy Jenkins, so he does have a little bit of a finisher, but it's not super relevant.
I do like the way that Shoop played that turn. He gave himself like the maximum potential to have this Councilman survive, which could be like a real threat against Prophecy's deck. There's not a lot of clean ways to kill it. You saw one of them there in Shield Slam, but that's like his most premium removal spell as well.
Yeah. All
right. So we're just going to go ahead and Sea Giant here as well.
Yep. So, a slightly awkward removal.
Yeah, I mean, Prophecy's starting to run out of resources really fast. You see Shoop has a huge board with 5 cards left behind this. Prophecy is still at 40, though. There is something to be said about being at that high of a life total. But Sea Giant can start taking big chunks real fast.
Yeah, 40 goes pretty quickly once you start to run out of stuff. When your opponent has a big board and you got nothing, 40 health just doesn't feel like it is enough. And a revenge used for Prophecy, and this is basically just to proc and execute, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. These are the types of things where you really have to space your removal. He used 2 cards to get rid of 1 card of Shoop. So those are the types of situations where you start to pull ahead as the Zoo Warlock, where you 2-for-1 your opponent. And you can see that Shoop continues to tap because he knows what this matchup is about. He knows that this matchup is just about keeping stuff on the board and, out-resourcing the control warrior. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
I definitely don't like playing Bran here.
Yeah,
I like pushing more damage possible. I think you need to save the Bran for Dark Peddler turn just to make sure, again, like you said, you just never run out of things to do.
Yeah. And Shoop, Baron Geddon's going to be pretty good here, but Brawl is also pretty good. But I think Baron Geddon's more restricted. There's not going to be as many times where Baron Geddon's going to be good. Where there's going to be lots of times where Brawl's good. So this turn's actually really tough.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to make that same decision here. Yeah, Prophecy, you can tell, doesn't like exactly where he's at right now. I think he feels the game kind of slipping away from him. He had a lot of action early, but he had to use his removal in a lot of like 1-for-1, maybe 2-for-1 situations. But Shoop has just been leveraging that hero power so hard every turn.
All right,
pretty good Brawl for himself there. Left him with just the 1/1.
Best case scenario there. But now Baron Geddon's gonna not find as good of uses, and Shoop's just continuing to tap. He knows that he doesn't really have to worry about this type of pressure. And he's just going to, just solidify his board position once again. And now all of a sudden, Prophecy's in a weird spot.
Now, does Bloodhoof help out any here? You got to worry about that Gurmok on the other side of the board. That guy's going to get a huge battle cry here.
Yeah.
He's going to take care of this whole Bloodhoof Brave by himself.
Oh, yeah. And Dark Peddler value, too. So he's got sort of the 2 best cards to have in his hand. And he's going to pick up a Power Overwhelming. And what's the second card going to be? We're going to get to see it for a second. A Possessed Villager. Okay.
All right. That was the quickest Power Overwhelming picked in the history of ever. Do you ever pay attention to that when your opponents are playing Dark Peddler, how quickly they pick their cards?
Because you know it's a powerful card.
Yeah,
well, sometimes it does, but there's also times where they get 3 powerful options, so they take a while because they don't know which powerful option to take. So, oh my goodness.
Which one of these kills you the most?
Yeah. So this is going to be pretty good board here for Prophecy. And the thing about Baron Geddon is it's not completely proactive. So it means like if you play it on the board, but you can't like use it to proc executes until the following turn. So now Prophecy is basically going to have to use all of the resources left in his hand to clear off this board. And he'll be left with nothing, and Shoop will be left with still 4 cards plus whatever he taps into. So this is one of those situations where he's going to be relying on the top of his deck to pull him out of his game.
Mm-hmm. And is there a life total if you're Shoop that you're worried about getting to a tap? Like, are you worried about getting Grommed out ever in this game?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah.
You don't really have activators in this deck, so the only thing you're worried about is like Grom over 2 turns. And in that case, you have a turn to react to it. And we haven't even seen a Defender of Argus yet. Is he just going to... Whoa. Okay, never mind. I thought it was going to pass.
Yeah, I think you just have to get Baron Geddon into play here, right? Like, you just have to do something.
Yeah. But with Bran still on the board, there's so many things that punish. And there's a Sea Giant, so... You know, even if Shoop has to trade in the board here, he's still gonna be left with a pretty favorable position. Going to continue to tap. Abusive Sergeant would be a great pickup. Forbidden Ritual, not so much.
Yeah, I think he was really looking for Abusive Sergeant. I think he'd even taken Power Overwhelming there. I don't think he would have been super upset about trading it here since Prophecy's down to 1 card after this. So you got to feel like if you take care of this Baron Geddon, that it's going to be pretty clean sailing from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like he's going to have to trade in his board, but I don't think that's too big of a deal because you're left with a scary board on your side. And even Brawl doesn't do much for Prophecy.
Yeah, what does he have to do here to win this game? Does he need to just have like perfect runners with Elise into, I don't know, like something like Deathwing?
He needs Brawl, and then he needs threats, and that's pretty much it. And Shoop's just not afraid. He's just going to continue to tap. And Defender of Argus is so good here because it allows him to kill off this Acolyte of Pain while denying it draws. Mm-hmm. And it also allows him to just push the 9 damage in with the Sea Giant, so it doesn't make his Sea Giant vulnerable to execute. Bash Execute becomes a thing, but, you know, is that even that good? Brawl is going to be a necessity for Prophecy here. Oh, Sylvanas! But can he afford to take that much damage and risk Sylvanas not stealing something good?
Yeah, too bad you can't execute your own minion here.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even be that good in this board. I guess you just have to, I was gonna say, you just have to execute the Sea Giant here, play a Sylvanas, and then hope and pray it's good enough here. You see Shoop just with a whole bunch of resources still left in his hand. There's the other Defender of Argus.
Yeah, but now we're sort of on a clock here for Shoop. Now he needs to piece together damage because all of a sudden a Brawl loses him the game. He's too low on life. He just needs to sort of, you know, make his board as big as possible and then just piece together enough damage. What was that card? Oh, Bilefin Tidehunter. I was like, what the heck? I saw like a shimmer of blue. I was like, ooh, that looks shiny.
Yeah, TJ getting distracted.
Yeah.
All right, so I know how to beat you now. Even if you have the War Golem Wisp thing, I just put in golden cards in my deck. You won't be able to pay attention enough to the game. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Shoop is basically on a plan here. Prophecy cannot draw into Brawl. Rag, he's got a 1-7.
Yeah, 1-7 to win the game is way. I mean, this harkens back to Archon Orange, like winning I think a 1-5 to win a major back like 2 years ago or whatever. This would be pretty insane. Where is Rag gonna end up?
Oh my goodness! If you look at Shoop, he's just smiling. He's like, oh
Prophecy's
no.
Gonna hold. Prophecy just held on to it for a while too. I like it. Oh.
Okay, getting close. Oh my goodness! How much damage is this?
That's
6,
14.
7, 8, 9. 1 off? Is he 1 off lethal?
Yeah, it looks
9
like,
plus
right,
14?
14. Oh man, this is an insane game here. This game got a lot closer here at the end than I thought it was going to be. Now, he still has Abusive Sergeants left in his deck, right? So he could tap into lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, Abusive Sergeant would be it.
Knife. If the knife goes to face, but that's actually really scary because you might knife the Sylvanas. So yeah, I think you have to take care of Rag here. You have to leave up at least. I'd be very scared to not have up two Taunters here. Shoop's having to kind of like tiptoe around this a little bit as well too.
Yeah, he's gonna Knife Juggler and then Forbidden Ritual and then hope that it steals hope that it doesn't steal the 1/1 so he can attack whatever it heals. All right, so it's gonna steal the. Oh no! It stole the 1 you can attack with. Oh man.
You have one slammable target here if you want to draw a card as well.
Yeah, so he's just hoping for a Brawl. Needs a Brawl. What's it gonna be?
Gosh.
So that.
Okay, so you attack the 2/2. Is there lethal damage coming on the way back? There's 2, 3, 4, 5. 9, 15. Oh, that's lethal, right?
Okay.
Yeah. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, just enough. And wow,
yeah.
Prophecy made a game of that. That looked a lot closer at the end than it needed to be.
Yeah, never-ending power overwhelmings. It feels like when you get brand value out of Dark Peddler. Yeah, number 5. That's what it was. So that's so much damage over the course of the game. That ends up being 20 extra points of damage that you can allocate to the board. to the face, wherever you want it to go. So that was a crazy game, back and forth.
Yeah, and now Shoop is in the enviable position of being up 2-0, and he's only got to find a win with this mage deck. We don't know which one it is, and we only know one of Prophecy's decks so far. We know that he has Control Warrior, so we're interested to see what decks Prophecy has. Maybe he's just going to go ahead and keep going with Control Warrior, because if it's Freeze Mage, we all know the resonant sleeper that is Control Warrior versus Freeze Mage. It's a rough spot for the Freeze Mage deck to be in.